In the YouTube algorithm system, one dude makes video essays about video games. These are his videos.
Metro City is enjoying a relative time of peace after the defeat of the Mad Gear Gang. While their presence has been completely wiped from the city, they have been rebuilding their power elsewhere. Belger's defeat left the gang rudderless until a mysterious warrior stepped up and became the new boss. Wanting revenge on the trio who defeated Belger, this new boss takes advantage of Guy's absence and kidnaps his fiancée Rena and her father, Genryusai, in Japan. When Maki, Rena's sister, learns of their abduction, she decides to call on the help of Hagar to take on the newly formed Mad Gear gang. Hagar, hearing Maki's plight, is determined to help out in any way that he can. While Hagar talks with Maki, his guest, Carlos Miyamoto, overhears their conversation. Carlos is a traveling martial artist currently staying at Hagar's home while he studies in Metro City. Carlos tells Hagar that he will lend him his strength as well to repay his debt to both Hagar and Guy. With that, the three of them head to Hong Kong to follow up on Maki's lead. Once the trio lands, they immediately begin to take on the local gang operations going on there. Through their battles, they learn that Rena and Genryusai have been moved to a Mad Gear base in Europe. Maki, Hagar, and Carlos fight all their way across the country and eventually end up in Italy, where Hagar comes face to face with an old foe. Rolento returns for revenge against Hagar and Guy for what happened in their last encounter. After a tricky and tense battle, Rolento was once again defeated by Hagar's team. As he retreats, Rolento reveals the location of the new boss and Maki's kidnapped family. Rolento says they must go back to Japan and face the new boss to save them. He also warns that his new master is the most powerful man in the world and that they will die by his hand. Maki, Hagar, and Carlos go to the Mad Gear base in Japan and battle their way to the new boss of the Mad Gear gang, Retu. After a tough and difficult bout, Maki kicks Retu out of a window, seemingly to his death. With that, Rena and her family are finally free. Rena then writes to Guy to explain everything that had transpired. Guy is relieved that everyone is safe and hopes to repay everyone for all they did for him. However, he still hasn't completed his training with Seku, so he can't return home just yet. Elsewhere, Rolento decides that he won't be able to use the Mad Gear gang to help build his ideal utopia of a nation built by soldiers. He strikes out on his own to make his dream a reality. Back in the US, Ken wins another tournament and is approached by a beautiful young woman. She asks Ken what motivates him to fight. Ken responds by saying that there's a man that he must defeat one day and won't stop until he does. The woman then tells Ken her name, Eliza, Sometime later, Ken learns of Ryu's victory against Sagat and decides to go back to Japan to see his friend soon. Ryu continues to travel the world to hone his fighting skills while street fighting challengers along the way. Eventually, Ryu attracts the attention of a young schoolgirl named Sakura Kasugano, who becomes inspired by Ryu's battles and decides to learn how to fight like him. She soon dons a white headband and red gloves just like Ryu's and tries to learn Onsatsuken by imitating him. Sakura begins to develop her own style of fighting as she continues to imitate her idol. Sakura eventually gains herself a rival in the form of Karin Kanzuki, the current heiress to the Kanzuki Saibatsu, a powerful business conglomerate. All her life, Karin was drilled by her father to be the very best, to always achieve victory. Karin challenged Sakura one day, fully expecting to gain yet another victory, but Sakura defeated her, soundly. From that point on, Karin devoted herself to becoming a stronger fighter in hopes of one day beating her new rival. Life for Sakura is normal until a string of mysterious incidents begin at several high schools, including hers. Several of her classmates and teachers begin disappearing, leaving the students on alert. Sakura decides to use her fighting skills to protect her school alongside several students from other schools, among them being Akira Kazama. Akira's brother Daigo has gone missing after trying to investigate the disappearances at his school, Gedo High. Akira goes undercover in biker gear to find out what happened to Daigo. Akira allies herself with two other individuals from Gedo High, Gan Isurugi and Eiji Edge Yamada. With their help, she was able to find her brother and aid the other schools in exposing the culprit behind the disappearances, Hio Imawano, the student body president of the elite Justice High School. Thanks to everyone's efforts, Hio was defeated and eventually reformed from his sinister ways. After their battles, Sakura gains some new insights.
もう心配ないんだよね。どの学校も二度と襲われたりしないんだよね。あれ、どうしたんだろう、私。なんか体がガクガクだ。いつものストリートファイトをした後と全然違う。どうして？私はただ大切な学校を守ろうと必死で戦っただけなのに。そっか、きっとこれが本当の戦いなんだね。あの人もきっと大切な何かのために戦ってるんだろうな。私は何のためにストリートファイトをするんだろう。ま、いっか。そんなことは戦ってから考えよっと。
And Akira reveals the truth to Gan and Edge.
大悟兄さん、生きていたのね。
すまない、アキラ。女のお前にこんな危ないことをさせてしまうなんて。
は？生きていたのね。
女のお前？
今まで嘘ついててごめんなさい。実は私は総番長の弟じゃなくて妹だったの。
なんだと？
よくもわしらを騙したの。
何する
の？お主が女だろうが男だろうがわしらには関係ないんじゃ。
とにかく俺たちは生死をくぐり抜けた仲だろ。今さら他人なんて虫が良すぎるぜ。よろしく頼むぜ、相棒。
相棒なんてやだ。私は普通の高校生に戻りたいのに。ちょっと下ろしてよ、ガンのバカ。お願いだから
They fully accept Daigo's sister as one of their own. A year passes and Sakura decides to go on a journey to find Ryu, and Akira is studying at an all-girls school. Akira learns that Daigo has been acting strange lately and decides to investigate with the help of two other students, Yurika Kirishima, a mysterious violinist, and Aoi Saki Himazaki, the former leader of a female gang. Through various trials, they learn that Daigo's disappearance ties in with the incidents going on at the other schools, mainly her school and Gedo High being on the verge of a gang war. Akira and Saki soon face off against Daigo in a wild and brainwashed state. Akira tries to bring him to his senses, but is stopped by Gan and Edge, who inform her that Daigo must be freed by force. During the fight, Zaki notices a strange whistling sound and figures out that Yurika was controlling Daigo with a special flute, under the orders of Kuro Kirishima, her younger brother. The team manages to free Daigo and prevent an all-out gang war. Akira and the others track down Kuro near Justice High. Akira's group, with the help of students at the other schools, With the help of the students at the other schools, Kuro was eventually defeated. After the incident, Yurika returns to Akira's high school and reunites with Akira and Zaki. Daigo is back to normal and fully recovered from his brainwashing. He decides to leave on another journey of self-improvement in hopes of never being brainwashed again. He tells Edge and Gan to watch over Geto High while he is away, and gives Akira his school jacket before leaving. Akira is content knowing that her brother will return one day a stronger man. Okay, so here's where things get a little complicated, because 95% of the stuff that happens in Alpha 2 and Alpha 3 happens all around the same time, and Final Fight 3 happens somewhere in the middle of all that. There is no tournament, it's just everybody doing their own shit while beating each other's asses. The main through line is that Ryu is coming into conflict with the Satsumi no Hado, and to a similar extent Akuma. Bison wants to use Ryu's power for his own purposes. Meanwhile, everyone is either looking for Ryu or fighting Bison and Shadaloo. The Final Fight crew also have their own agendas thrown in there as well. There are very few characters that aren't connected to these plots, so I'll try to cover the events chronologically to the best of my knowledge, starting with Alpha 2. Ryu is in a state of doubt. He defeated Sagat, who is stated to be the strongest warrior in the world, and by beating Sagat, that now makes him the strongest warrior in the world. It didn't feel right. How could his journey be over when he only had just begun? Ryu decides to press on and become even stronger, continuing his journey to be the best. For a while, this was enough, but soon, Ryu felt the stirrings of something within. Something sinister. There was a dark power inside of him trying to come out. He knew it, and more importantly, Akuma knew it as well. Akuma continues his quest to fight worthy opponents. One such foe was a legendary assassin from Hong Kong, an elderly man and the victor of 100 bloody battles, Gen. Gen has spent the greater part of his life in the shadows of the Chinese underworld, but a terminal illness has dragged him out of retirement. Not wanting to go quietly into the night, Gen throws himself into constant death matches, wanting to die in a blaze of glory. One day, Akuma and Gen face off. two battle each other intensely. Akuma even pulls out the Shun Goku Satsu, a powerful move that can kill any opponent every single time. Except Gen was skilled enough to block it and counter with his own killing move, which was blocked by Akuma. Akuma gains the upper hand and is about to finish off Gen when he realizes that he is terminally ill. Sometime later, Ryu's travels lead him to Akuma's island, where the two would cross fists for the first time.
Round one, fight! Adon!
Feeling defeated and utterly lost, Ryu ponders his next move. Meanwhile, Bison begins to search for Ryu for his own purposes. During this time, he meets a British thug named Birdie.
Round one, fight!
Psycho Crush!
While Bison has a new strong enforcer in his ranks, Birdie has other plans. Bison also begins to pour more resources into his doll program, which involves abducting and brainwashing young women to make them into enhanced killers for Shadaloo. Bison decides to test one such individual named Cammy.
Round one, fight!
Bison's Killer Bee has shown promising results. Shadaloo's reach has spread to other areas of the world during this time. In India, Shadaloo's activities have disrupted trade in the country, causing several areas to become impoverished. This causes the pacifist yoga master Dhalsim to participate in street fights to raise money for his village. The threat of Shadaloo also has Russia worried. The Russian government then hears of a powerful wrestler named Zangeif and decides to fund his training to make him the representation of Mother Russia's strength. In the meantime, Bison is confronted by a mysterious woman named Rose. Rose is a fortune teller from Italy and is a wielder of soul power, the exact mirror of psycho power. Rose saw a prophecy stating that Bison would bring calamity to the world and soon sought to stop him.
Round one, fight! KO, you win!
やるじゃない。
Unfortunately, Bison survived. Bison is later confronted by Chun Li, the daughter of Hong Kong Interpol officer Dorai. Dorai was investigating Shadaloo at the time of his disappearance. Chun Li decides to follow in her father's footsteps and become an Interpol agent at age 18 as an anti-Shadaloo investigator. Unfortunately, Shadaloo had already corrupted the upper ranks of the organization, meaning Chun Li had an uphill battle.
Round one, fight!
Bison's issues were far from over as he would be confronted by Charlie Nash. Charlie's investigation would lead him to Venezuela, where he would corner the leader of Shadaloo.
Round one, fight!
It seems that Bison has managed to keep the authorities on the back foot, at least for now. Sometime after his confrontation with Akuma, Ryu meets Ken again.
Round one, fight!
Hadouken! 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 Shoryuken! Hadouken! 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 Shoryuken!
KO! You win!
やったぜ
Ryu and Ken go their separate ways for the time being, but Ryu would soon be visited by Sakura, his biggest fan.
Round one, fight!
Hadouken! 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 Shoryuken! Hadouken!
KO! You win!
こんなとこだね
Hadouken!
Even though she wasn't able to become Ryu's student, Sakura continues to improve so that one day Ryu may take her under his wing. Sagat continues to train with the hopes of getting revenge on Ryu. He develops a new move during this time that will counter the Shoryuken. During his time with Shadaloo, Sagat is challenged by his former pupil, Adon.
Round one, fight!
Two battled fiercely, but Sagat's rage compromised his skill and allowed him to be defeated by Adon. Sometime later, Adon would become the new champion of Muay Thai. Eventually, Sagat would finally have his rematch against Ryu somewhere in Australia.
Round one, fight!
Realizing that his victory was shallow, and that Ryu let him win to avoid doing more damage, Sagat vows to let go of his rage and become a better warrior in hopes of having a true rematch against Ryu. While on this new path, Sagat is challenged by Go Hibiki's son, Dan.
Round one, fight!
In reality, Sagat lost on purpose to spare Dan from the path of revenge and anger that he was just on. Guy's Bushin training is nearly complete, and all that remains for him to do is challenge Zeku for the title of Grandmaster. While Guy became Grandmaster, other people from Metro City were also making strides toward their own goals. Rolento began to build the army for his utopian nation. And Sodom sought powerful allies to rebuild Mad Gear and meets a certain sumo wrestler. With Guy now becoming the 39th Grandmaster of Bushin Ryu, he decides to return home to Metro City.